So this is a mini chord, and I'm going to explain how it works. First, you have these zones with rows of buttons. On the top, you have a letter. It's the name of the chord. The first row is for major chord. So G major, A major, C major. It's a case for each one of the buttons. On the second row, you have the minor chords. G minor, A minor, C minor. And the third row, the seventh chord. G7s, A7s, C7s. Then you have this zone with a black bar. If you drag your finger across the black bar, you have 12 notes from within the chord that you selected. You see, it's quite simple. But you can also create some more complex chords. For example, if you want a major 7 chords, you can do the top and the low. For minor 7s is those two ones. You also have an augmented and diminished chord. But that's quite classic. And then you can also do something that is called slash chords. It's when you steal the fundamental of another chord when you play one chord. So it's better if I show. It's G, and it's G/A. It's a G major, but I've clicked a button from the A row, so I have a A in my chord. C/A. So it's quite practical to do complex chord progressions. You also have a sharp here. And then here you have a button to hold the notes that you are currently doing. Next, you have some potentiometers to handle the volume. And here you have a modulation potentiometer, but I'm going to talk about it later. As you can hear right now, the sound is quite harsh. So I'm going to explain how you can control and program the mini chord. So it's a page, it's called Minicontrol. It's opened in Chrome because Chrome supports MIDI CX messages. So you can simply click allow. You need to reload sometime. Oh, okay. It was connected up. Here it's connected. So it's a simple Chrome browser with an online page. Here you have all the parameters of the mini chord. So I'm going to explain how you design a preset. Okay, so let's start. The first parameter is the bank color. So it's just for you to remember what is the color of the current bank that you are working on. So for example, this nice green. Here you have a few parameters, but I'm not going to talk about them right now. I'm going to go about more general parameter. So let's start with the arc parameter. So you have a global gain, but it's quite easy to understand, just the gain of the presets. Then you have the harp shuffling parameter. The harp shuffling parameter, it allows you to have not only the notes from the chords, strictly from the chords in the harp, but also other one. So for example, and on each preset you can explain, the 0 is normal. One is, for example, with seconds added in the harp. So it has. So it can add quite a character. So for example, the last one is chromatic. So it can be quite useful, but for now I'm going to keep it normal. So the second one is the oscillator. Here you have the amplitude of the oscillator. Keep in mind you have 12 oscillators, so you don't want to push it too far or you saturate. By the way, here you control all the parameters without any limitation. So you can mess up, basically, for example, I show here, because the different notes are going together, it saturates. But let's go back to 12, which is a safe bet for the 12 oscillator. Then you have the waveform. Here what we are listening to is a simple sine, but you have other waveform. So of course, right now, those waveforms are sounding quite harsh because there is no filter behind. But we'll see that it will get better. Then you have the envelope. So as usual, you have the attack, hold, decay, sustain, and release. So I'm going to do something a bit better than what we have here. Okay, that's a bit better. And then we have the low-pass filter. So it's a classical synthesis schematic. So after the basic oscillator, you have a filter to low-pass the signal. So I'm going to start by bringing down the frequency. Not that much. And then we're going to have an envelope on the filter itself. Okay, and I'm putting up the filter sensitivity. I'm going to turn down the chords for now so we can. So it's nice, but the decay is a bit fast. Okay, so it sounds a bit better. Okay, we were quite happy, I think, with this low-pass filter. Then we have something quite classical. It's a tremolo. So it's always nice to have just a little bit. And at any time you can come back to the waveform because it impacts quite a lot the signal. So I think I'm quite happy with this one. Okay, then we have something a bit more complicated. It's a vibrato, so basically you can modify the pitch dynamically of the note. For example, here we have a pitch offset that is 1, so it doesn't offset. If we offset it a bit up, no, we don't hear anything yet because I didn't work on the envelope. So let's do that. So as we see, there's an envelope that is triggered at each time we touch on a note. It impacts the pitch of the oscillator. Here quite a lot. So here, pitch up. So it's quite a dramatic effect, of course, we don't need that much. But you can also do that with a waveform. So once again, quite dramatic, but it can be useful. Okay, now then we have a delay. So we can set up the length. So just to hear it well, I'm going to shorten the release. So we have a delay, then a filter, and we can choose what to put back in the delay. Okay, then we have a reverb. Then a bit of crunch. It can be useful for some waveforms. It can also be quite dramatic, but it's usually not needed. For example, if you change the crunch type, but yeah, it depends on the types that you want to have. Okay. And then you have a final output filter, which can be useful, for example, to limit if you have too much bass on your arp. You don't want it to go too low. So for example, But yeah, it can be useful in that way. Here you have also a LFO if you want to. So yeah, that's about it. Now imagine that we are satisfied with that. We can save our preset to the bank. So here the target bank is 1. So our preset 1 will sound like that if you restart the stuff. So here, for example, this is 2. We go back to 1. So we have it. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the chord parameter. So putting that back in. Global gain, we talked about it before. Chord shuffling, so it's kind of the same. It's what you want in your chord. But for this parameter, for this part of the chord, I'm going to talk later about the other, it mostly sets up the octave that you want. So for example, here we're gonna stay here in the middle. It's nice. And then you have 3 different oscillators that you can combine. For each oscillator, you have the amplitude waveform, the frequency multiplier. So here we have one activated. So I'm going to start the second one. So here it's half the frequency multiplier, so it's the octave down. But you can also put it an octave up. Like this organ sound, but you can also not be straight in tune, so you can do like a bit of detune. And then, for example, the third one. Okay, so I think it's good for basis. Then you have a noise also. A bit can be useful, but also it's better once you have the low pass filter. And then you have the presence of each of the notes. So for example, and then we have two parameters relating to the time between each of the notes of the chord. So we have the internote delay, which delays each of the notes by a command time, but you also can have a random note delay. So it's not systematically the same. It's a bit more natural, let's say. Okay, then we have our envelope. Okay. Then we have our low pass filter. So let's start. So here I'm kind of going for an organ. Just a bit of noise can be not bad. Okay, then we have our tremolo. So same. Here you can use the key track to have a different tremolo for each of the chords. It's a bit high. So here it's nice. Vibrato, so it's the same for the up part. Here I put just a bit. Okay, then we have the effect. The delay is the same, so I won't go over it again. Just add a bit of reverb. Maybe a bit of crunch. Okay, and just I'm going to jump to the output filter. It's the same once again, so the frequency. Okay, so we're quite happy. We can save to bank. Now just I'm going to talk very fast about this part, the rhythm part. If you hold this button for more than 1 second and you release, you're in a, how to put it, in a arpeggiator mode. So you have the default BPM, the length of the cycle, here you have the time in the measure when you can update the note, so it's a bit like if you see the LED, sometimes it's a small blip and sometimes a hard blip, and when it's big, it can change between chords. So it will wait until the next heartbeat to change to the chord. So you can do that and not worry about when it will change, and it will be on time. You have a shuffle value. It can be a positive or negative shuffle. Then you have the length of time the note is pushed. And here you can as you can see here, you have additional voice. So that's why I didn't talk about earlier that here in the chord shuffling, you can also select the notes that you have in the additional voice. So yeah, that's about it for how you set things up. As you can see, you can do a lot of different sounds. It wasn't meant to be an exhaustive demonstration, but a way to understand how this works, and I hope this helps. Now, as you see, there's 12 banks to fills. So what I really would like is for those banks to let's say, to be filled with interesting presets. That's why also I'm making this video, to see if anybody would be interested in trying to make presets for these instruments. I think it could be very cool. So that's about it. I hope it was useful, and well, if you made it up until here, thank you for watching.